Ted's Butcherblock, which is a locally owned and operated butcher shop and gourmet cafe, will turn 20 years this October. I talk one-on-one with Ted Dombrowski, the owner of Ted's Butcherblock, for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Ted Dombrowski, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Needless to say, you're the owner of the magnificent Ted's Butcherblock, which is right down the street from where I'm sitting right now.
I am. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. I personally go in there a lot for your rotisserie chicken salad sandwich.
Okay.
And of course, you were established in 2025 as a locally owned, operated neighborhood butcher shop and gourmet cafe, which is Charleston's trusted source for the best quality, best tasting meats, and household prepared foods you'll find any place right here. So tell me, Mr. Ted, what's new, what's now with Ted's Butcherblock?
Well, we are coming up on our 20th anniversary on October 15th. So, there's a lot that stays the same. I always believe in trying to stay in my lane. But as we come up on the 20th, we're trying to look at, how we can expand, how we could get better, asking our customers what, they like or would like to see. Because I've always said, it's not what I like, I'm here for the community. And so, we want to grow, certainly, but for a minute, I just want to sit and enjoy it, hopefully getting to the 20-year mark.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Mr. Ted, let me ask you this, then. And I want to get back to those points that you just made in just a second about expanding and whatnot. But what is the biggest difference from 20 years ago to right now about your particular business?
Well, I think you can see it across the city, the growth, the amount of people. When we first opened up, we concentrated more on the international aspect because I've lived in Charleston for 30 years. And so I've had the business for 20. And, 20 years ago, it didn't quite have the restaurant scene. There was a lot of shrimp and grits, which, don't get me wrong, I love shrimp and grits, but it was like, okay, what else? There might be a couple other things out there. And so we really kind of concentrated on, it's a big world. There's a lot of flavors. And, we tried to introduce, that's how we started. And it was international cuisines. And every month we would highlight a different country and do a menu for the month of their foods. And we would have a map on the wall that said what country we're doing. And the whole store was full of maps. And so there just wasn't as much, knowledge, the information, the internet, it just wasn't out there. But then, through the Food Network and more people coming in from all over the country and other countries, people just, they want more, you know what I mean? There's more knowledge, which I think is great. And so we try to just keep up on some of those food trends, but yeah, 20 years ago there were, I just think that we tried to offer something different and be a niche for that.
Oh, absolutely. You've done a tremendous job with that over the past 20 years. So right now, Mr. Ted, what food trends are you and your team currently keeping an eye on?
Well, I think there's different countries' cuisines are being highlighted, and people travel more, and they come back and they're like, oh, I had this thing over in Europe and I can't find it anywhere, and I'm like, I got it,
Yeah.
I think that's always going to be a continuing trend. Our biggest thing is on the butcher side of having traceability and transparency on what we carry. I think people really are gravitating more towards that, knowing where their proteins come from, how they were raised, what they were fed, processing. And, that's been, in 20 years, I have not changed the farms that I've deal with, because they're truly farmers. And, even if they're not particularly local for some things, they're still farmers, and they're really proud about what they raise and how they raise it. And I like to have full transparency to people to say, hey, this is where it came from. Like, you could look it up yourself. You don't have to trust me. There's so much information. So I think that's a growing trend that is still trying to, we're trying to get people to understand how important that is.
Mr. Ted, let me ask you this. What foods that you or your team are actually keeping an eye on from a trending standpoint that you personally want to try and bring into the restaurant eventually?
That's a good question. Let me think. We pretty much, we carry a lot of game meats have certainly grown in popularity because they're a lot leaner and higher in proteins. And so we have expanded on that. We're trying to expand more on seafood. And we always, so we always have our standards, but, the things that we have day to day and week to week, and then depending on like kind of what is running locally, we'll certainly bring that in. But I think that's an area also, particularly downtown, there's really not any fish markets, since Crosby's left years ago. And so, we're trying to fill that void.
What other voice should be filled when it comes to the restaurant scene here in the Low Country, Mr. Ted?
Oh man, there's so many restaurants, right? I mean, it's like, it is insane. Like, every time you look, which is great. I mean, I love my wife and I. We love to eat and know some great chefs and really enjoy the scene. But I'm interested in. I saw recently on I believe on Rutledge, a new Indian restaurant opening up. Right. And I don't know if it's open yet, but I kind of love still international flavors. You know what I mean? I love to see what people do with that. And, but I just don't know how they all survive. There's just, we're not New York. We're not San Francisco. We're just not as big. And it just seems that it's really tough to, for them all to make it,
You see those Instagram posters every time. This restaurant's closing. This one can't hang on. It's just, disappointing to see and hear.
I mean, I think it's part of the nature of the growth of the city. It has its good side and its bad side. The downside is it's tough for business owners to hire workers that can live even close. I mean, not even locally. None of my workers really live downtown. They all come from far away because they just can't afford it. I think that's a big thing. The price of commercial real estate and rentals is just grown so much because of the popularity, and you start to see. I was lucky when I opened. My landlord was a local guy, and we would sit down and when the recession hit in '08 and I was new, and if I didn't have that relationship with him and say, we are going to just fight through this, but I need your help, like, it can't. And he was like, I'm better with you, in there than out. And I think that's kind of what's missing sometimes, is that relationship. And if you don't have a landlord through those tough times where somebody's going to work with you, it makes it even harder.
Yeah, it does. What's your secret for staying in after 20 years in that location
there? It's waving to customers. I think it's consistency. I think that, like I said, it's understanding what you're going to get every time. And we try to balance our growth with doing what we do really well. And also having the staff in place to provide the service. Because I think that's, as important as the product. I mean, we're a local place. We're about 80% of our business are locals. And so people come in, we know their names, we know what they like to order, we know what they don't like, and I think that's what a neighborhood, market is supposed to be, and that's really what we kind of always wanted to be. So I think that's the biggest. That, and just I'm very stubborn. I could have went out of business a couple times, and the recession was really hard. The pandemic wasn't fun, but I'm just a stubborn Polish guy from New Jersey.
Yes, 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 absolutely. You talk about that product, Mr. Ted. So, what are your customers' wants and needs?
What are they? I'm sorry, the last part. What are they?
Yeah, what are your customers' wants and needs right now from Ted's Butcherblock?
I think primarily we are a full shop, and like I say, the seafood certainly expanding, and I think if they could make it more of a one-stop shop. Where you didn't have to, and like when we talk about growth in the future, I think that's kind of the growth, is to offer more, in the way of maybe like we say seafood, but in the way of prepared foods. Sure. I think convenience is a huge thing for customers. Everybody's busy, kids, time to this work, and I think convenience as far as cooking products and having grab and go options, just making it easier during the week.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You have the growth, Mr. Ted. You have the resources, and you have the customers. So where can you expand to?
That's a great question, because this building probably will not be here in 2 years. It's my guess. It's unfortunate, but it's a fact, that our lease is going to be up in March of 27, and so we've been looking somewhere, because I'd love to stay downtown. I've spent 20 years, building up a clientele and a brand, and my wife has certainly helped so much on that part of the marketing and branding, that I'd love to find something downtown where we can maintain that.
Oh, absolutely. I'm believing God that will happen very much soon. And so if anybody wants to come, obviously, for lunch to your particular restaurant, how do they go about that?
It's pretty easy. Front door, back door, any way you get in, you can come in. We have online ordering, we have indoor seating, we have outdoor seating. We're small, but there's always a place. It's an oddly, even though the parking lot is absolutely insane, at least it's free. Yeah. It's unusual that there is free parking.
Oh, yeah.
But there's usually parking. I'm in the back right now. There's usually parking in the back.
Oh, yeah.
On the street. So that's, and we have online ordering, to make it easier. You can just pick up. I'll run it out to your car. I don't care. I'm here, whatever, like I'm in the yes business. You know what I mean? Like whatever you want. I'm here to try to help out.
Oh, and speaking of helping out, how about if somebody wants to cater something with your business?
So we do a lot of lunch catering. Sandwich platters and box lunches are pretty much, we do a couple specialty catering, like we'll do grilled tenderloins or smoked salmon platters. And so that's kind of like the catering that we stick to these days. It's just really hard if you don't have the staff to do catering.
You're right about that. You're right about that. And then, like you said, online, tedsbutcherblock.com.
That's Butcherblock. Any way at all. Call. That's funny. Some businesses don't take phone calls. They only do online. I'm like, you're out of your mind. Like, I don't care if you send me a letter with an order. I'll fill it.
There you go. There you go. You got to tend to the needs of the people.
Right.
Well, Ted Dombrowski with Ted's Butcherblock, right down the street here. Thank you for your time again. Welcome to Quintin's Post-Ups.
You're awesome. Keep doing what you do. I love it. You must be running out of people if you get to me. You know what I mean? Because I've seen you really interviewed a lot of like great and important people. Oh. And now you're stuck with me.
Oh no. Listen, you're just as great and important as those people are as well. So we thank you for your service to this town.
I appreciate you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right. You take care.
Okay.